And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm going to share my screen, Tony. You would have probably got this through. I don't know if did you have a chance to have a look at that audit and consult at this stage, or
Uh, briefly,
briefly?
yes.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'm going to talk it through anyway, so that way,
Sure.
it kind of hopefully will make a bit more sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Um, Rightio. So can you see that coming through? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
No
that's
problem.
I've actually decided to save my eyes and put things on the darker screen now. I didn't realize when I sort of then saved the screens, it was going to then put it on the dark screen for people as
No,
well.
that's
But
good. Mm.
anyway,
No,
all
that's
good.
fine.
Yeah, the first thing that we do, Tony, just in this order side of things, just see what actually comes up when we put in A&R building constructions, right?
Yep.
If you need to grow, that's fine.
I probably do
Yeah,
actually.
just
Sorry,
grab that
bear
one.
with
That's
me.
fine.
All right, 27. How's it going? Yeah, I just shot you an email. Just maybe go through that email and have a look if there's any questions. The main thing you're probably going to get stuck with is the render. You know how we're doing the render on the face brick walls in the offices? Can you imagine where they've rendered it? There's a straight line. They've actually overlapped the render past the straight line where it meets the old and new by half a brick. So I'll have to render the whole lot. Well, I'll have to top coat the whole lot. But you're going to end up getting a cracking half a brick in. But there's not much I can do because otherwise you're gonna see it. You know what I mean? Look at the photo I sent you. You'll know what I mean. Yeah. No. Because all you're really doing now, because all you're doing is remember the hard set, the top coat is really hard set. It's not flexible.
Hey Tony, I just put you on mute. So down the bottom there, you'll see mic. If you want to just turn your mic back on again.
Yep.
Yeah, all good. No worries. And I thought I'd flick the I'll just turn the flick share. I'll just share my screen again. There we go. Did you get on okay?
Mhm. Yeah, no, all good.
All good. Very good. Um, rightio. Now where was I back in? Right. So, yeah, oh, actually, that's not coming through yet for you. Here we go. Yeah. So as I said, all we do is put in the name. What we want to do is see what happens. So clearly, if anybody's done any social media or the Google side of things before, they'll come up. In your case, A&R, it's, I guess in local government planning terms, they used to call it you're a greenfield site, which is kind of good in a way because it just means we can make everything wham bam good. But the
Hmm.
only thing, so for instance, from a search perspective, I don't know who Martin Hall is, but anyway, maybe just because it has the R in the name, that comes up in the Google My Business. So that's something we'd create with and for you, right? And then the
Yeah.
other thing I can see, you've sort of had a few directory type things in the past, and there's you in terms of LinkedIn, which is interesting because
Hmm.
LinkedIn is kind of it just goes to show you. I'm sure I don't know how active are you active on LinkedIn at all?
No, not
No.
really.
So it
No.
just goes to show you that one social media
Yeah.
actually comes up
Yeah.
for you on that page, mainly because it probably is you, So it is the
Yeah.
best of the personal sort of professional socials for people. Right, let's get down to the next page. As we sort of spoke about the other day when we were on the phone, I know you were talking about sort of doing some improvements to the website.
Yeah.
But purely from a social media marketer stance, it's not.
Hmm.
It's okay. I can certainly work with this and give you benefits across it. So, realistically, you've got your logo. That's what we'd want to put on all the 6 social media. We'd probably use, unless you're thinking you're going to change it, but this sort of cover image, is that a building you've been involved in? This one here?
No, not
No.
no. That's why I wanted to update. I
Yeah.
wanted to update all the later
Yeah.
ones that we were. Yes.
Yeah, so you might want to use an updated for us,
Correct.
and then update the website as well. But the idea
Yep.
is you want to have a cover picture that you're kind of going to use across everything, and you're going to use
Yep.
your logo across everything. What we'd be doing is you then get the 6 social media, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But
Hmm.
effectively, we'd put all them up the top there as well, just to proof you, so people could connect and speak
Yep.
to you from that way as well. But ultimately,
Hmm.
they'd open in new tabs because we don't want to distract them from requesting a quote, for instance, and just speaking to you in the
Yep.
first place. Generally speaking, we want to get people to the website. So
Yep.
so we can work with this website. We would just improve it, and there's all sorts of things we'd suggest. Just little tweaks that you might want to look at from that perspective.
Hmm.
We just put the in LinkedIn because we did want to sort of see you. I did notice that you did come up, and we'd want to make sure, just so you understand, LinkedIn effectively is kind of like your business card online now. So all of a sudden,
Yep.
I'd want a sort of a smart Tony type square profile pic that we
Yep.
in the past I used to take these, but nowadays I don't. Get your son-in-law or somebody along those lines just to take a
Yeah.
photo that we can use on the day, and then
Yeah.
we'd
That's
use
fine.
a secondary image probably for the business behind you, right, to bring you out. We'd put a lot more
Hmm.
information in there around what A&R building does, and 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 we talk to you about how we go about using your profile to get more business for you, right?
Yep.
Um, but we post through the company, not through. I don't become my clients, right?
Yep.
I become the client's business, if you like. And so what we do is we post through A&R, the company site that we'll set up
Yep.
on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Similarly, I think you don't have a Facebook page. Is that right?
Not. Oh no. No.
No, not a Facebook page either. So that's
No.
nowadays that's a lot of people sort of head to. You can imagine a lot of people sort of head to Facebook before they even set up a website nowadays. So,
Hmm.
and it's not the best way to go, to be honest. You're much better off what you've got is where we can use the website as your key thing, and then use your social media to get people to the phone and to the website, basically. But
Yeah.
again, pretty straightforward in the setup session that we just set up your Facebook, and similarly, Facebook owns Instagram. So we'd set up
Hmm.
your Instagram. So what we can see is that your name is available, so that's good, and that's the same on Instagram as well. So what we often go looking for is just to make sure that that name isn't taken by others, right?
yeah.
interesting, all the various variations of it. But realistically, Instagram again is a greenfield site for us to be able to create. Same on
Hmm.
Twitter. People often sort of say, well, why Twitter? Well, the reality is Twitter's really good for placing you as a builder in Melbourne, in Australia, and just basically owning the name and the brand on that area for those people that are using it realistically. And it's
Yeah.
just, again, something we can post through so that when we, if we were to do that search, in the future, what'll finish up happening is you'll have A&R Building Constructions, you'll have a Google My Business, you'll have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all sorts of different things start to come up. So you own
Hmm.
almost the whole space, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting that when you put your name in, there was no Google Ads sitting above that from a constructions point of view, because I would have thought there would be relatively a bit of competition around that. And then similarly with your YouTube. So we create YouTube just because YouTube's the second most searched and it's owned by Google, right? So we just
Yeah.
create YouTube to pretty much give you a really good landing page, connect back. If you happen to do any videos, let's face it, with an iPhone nowadays, you can take a video just about as easy as you can with a
Yeah.
photo. So even just short little job videos, things along those lines that we kind of
Hmm.
recommend. Yep. Um, so so that's kind of where you are. You're kind of, as I said, from my perspective, it's actually quite good when we start from scratch. It just
Yeah.
means we can make it look really, really good straight away, and we know we're not going to have problems. Oh, how can we access this or access that? Because maybe it was the niece or somebody else that set it up, or some dodgy agency back in the day, and it's a bit like, oh, how the hell do we get it back? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
often better if we sort of set it up in the first place. So
Hmm.
that's that. Any questions around that side of things, Tone?
No, not really.
All good.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much what I expected. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're the six sites. Rather than go to this page, I'll just go point you to this little part here, right? So um, this is if this comes up, hopefully it'll load. Um, this is my little just an infographic. Hopefully, as I said, I'll just scoop back in and out. I don't know why it's taken time to load there,
Hmm.
but what I might do is just pick a picture, or the picture rather. Okay, give that a go. All right. So by the time I put this over, it'll probably come up. But anyway, just to let you know what it's all about, right? So I understand it's not your world, and I think I told you last time I got into it only because I was studying 10 years ago. So all of a sudden, started studying marketing. I'd been a sort of grassroots sports. I have an undergrad in sport and rec, and so
Hmm.
I'd sort of always grown sporting clubs from the grassroots up, right?
Yeah.
So in some ways, this model of social media marketing is about trying to grow the local business upwards, rather
Yeah.
than what tends to happen is big brands promote things from the brand downwards. So ultimately, we know that no one makes amount of social media, or what marketers call marketing in the first place. Businesses just call business. That's the first thing. What businesses typically call marketing is actually marketing communication. How do you
Yeah.
promote yourself, right? So in terms of
Yeah.
things like the website in the past, I'm sure you've done, whether that was networking or emails, that sort of stuff. How have you
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
how have you typically promoted yourself in the past, Tony?
No, we did do some networking with Phil. That was
Hmm.
happening like, I don't know, once a month, I think. But
Okay.
it started to get a little bit too, started to bite into the day too much. And yeah,
Yeah.
we
Right.
did advertising in the early days, I suppose, the yellow
Yeah. Okay.
pages and all that sort of stuff. And yeah,
Well, I guess the thing is
lately,
too, when you're a
not
builder, you've
much.
got your signage out the front of the house as you're doing as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
So that sort of goes along. And so in
Yeah.
the future, once we've got your socials going with future signage, you'd probably do well to not only have your web address, but also the
Yeah.
6 social media links. So you basically
Yeah.
don't just save it for online. You tell people that you're a social business, right, for offline as well. So
Yeah.
ultimately, you've been in the game 40 years, I think you told me, right? A long
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So
Hmm.
you know who your customer looks like. We just got to
Yeah.
make sure that your offer's as good as anybody you're competing with, which I've got no doubt it is. And I
Yeah.
just mean across the board, your services
Yeah.
and what you do is as good as anybody else. And what
Yeah.
makes you unique? Well, we've just said, there's a lot of, I imagine, um, people Johnny come latelys and people that are in and out, right, in what you do, right? So you've got time, which is a real
Yeah.
a real advantage for you compared to others. You might have
Hmm.
heard the word content marketing. That just means the words we use. and the
Yeah.
images, right? So ultimately, um, that's why I said your website, it looks perfectly fine for me at the moment. We
Hmm.
probably want to upgrade some imagery, just particularly if you've got more recent photos and projects and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But we'd want to use that to share across your social media. And clearly, we
Okay.
kind of know that you know, what we do when other sort of communications are done as well, then they all sort of do help one another. It's a bit like a fruit salad. But we
Yep.
certainly know from the social media and Facebook advertising that we're pretty confident we give our businesses competitive advantages that others in the industries don't have, right? Because they typically have a crack themselves or, yeah, anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so ultimately, as I said, the only time we sort of look at you is for that
Hmm.
profile on LinkedIn. Everything
Yep.
else is about creating these accounts on the social media channel. So we create your Google My Business, we
Yep.
create your YouTube channel, and then we
Hmm.
create these social media networking ones, which is the LinkedIn company, the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yep.
Nowadays, you can actually post through Google as well. So we post through those four plus Google. Basically, we're posting on a daily or every second day basis. Yeah, and
Yep.
we're taking information from your website to
Hmm.
where the people are. So you remember the old newspaper advertising or
Yep.
newspaper papers, let's say full stop, local newspapers.
Yep.
They're still about. You need to get them from the shops, I think, nowadays, as in,
I know.
they'll put it at the local supermarket and stuff like that. Um,
Exactly.
but it's not that different, right? So social media is all about a news feed.
Yep.
So basically they've all got news feeds, every one of them, right? They've got a news feed, and we're aiming to get your posts into the news feed of the people who you want to get it into, right? So the people that are following you, that know of you
Hmm.
already, and the people that we advertise to, right? So
Yep.
generally we suggest people spend a starting sort of $5 a day spend around your ads, just to try and basically gain that greater awareness and gain traffic through to the website. That's what we're trying to get basically by
Yep.
doing that. So, and generally it's all new business. So at the moment, they're probably people that don't know you. They wouldn't know and they wouldn't know the brand or the company, right? So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
you know who they are. You know that they're a, I don't know, for argument's sake, let's say they're a 35 plus males and females living predominantly in the southeast corridor of Melbourne, for instance, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's probably, and you tell us other sorts of things, which we then work in the Facebook and look at your ad saved audience. Um,
Hmm.
we know that less than 50% of small business have any social media. That just means they've whacked up a Facebook page.
Yep.
So of them, less than less than 30% have ever spent $1 on advertising. Now, Facebook's pretty shit nowadays if you're just posting and you haven't got
Yep.
a following. But as soon as you spend $1, particularly since COVID, they've actually become pretty good, right? So, as I said, we talk about a $5 a day spend for our clients.
Hmm.
That generally or typically will give sort of 10 to 20,000 eyeballs and
Yep.
and in the thousands of traffic, if you like. So,
Hmm.
and that didn't happen in the old newspaper, right? So I can't remember what the newspaper costs were, but it was a lot more than that. So,
Yeah. That's.
so we kind of know that, um, yeah, those businesses that have whacked up a Facebook page, if they're not spending $1, then they may as well not have the page up in the first place, realistically.
Yeah.
So that's why we sort of do both, and that's why we also don't be too reliant on just Facebook. We also schedule to Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google as well, just to try and
Yeah.
get the benefits of all of those. Um,
Hmm.
we kind of have today's that sort of audit type process. As I said, to know what we need to do. Yours is different to many, right? Because effectively we're going to create all these with you. So we do the creation sort of setup session is about 3 hours, right? We'll probably need every minute of that, but that's not to say like the start of this call. You can always pick up phones and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
It's just a question of having that time.
Hmm.
That's the setup side of things, and then there's a 2-hour planning session, which is looking at saved audience and that sort of target audiences and what we're going to say when we're going to say it. So again, it's another couple of hours. So
Yep.
take a break for lunch or however we do it, but effectively it's a 5-hour day
Hmm.
that we go through. Once we've done that, we're done. You're all, as I said, you're looking swish across everything, and then pretty
Yep.
much from the next day we start posting. So
Okay.
that's kind of what the model looks like, just so you know. Um,
Yep.
and like any good marketing, you want to know, well, okay, it cost us this much up front. It costs us this much for management and ads. How much business
Yep.
are we generating, right? So,
Yep.
and that's really what the rest of this stuff talks about. Yeah. So
Hmm.
as I said, today is about audit and consult. We don't charge for the consult if we proceed to set up,
Yeah.
right? So in other
Yeah.
words, it becomes $203, and then the pricing is around. So that day, that 5 hour day is $1,000 day. There are or abouts,
Hmm.
and for a business like yours where you're kind of looking at improving, it's up to you. But most clients sort of look at that every second day posting and every second month reporting, which is your extra small,
Yeah.
or every day posting and every month reporting, which is your small business. Now, Phil, for
Hmm.
instance, is sitting on the extra small. So just
Yeah.
to give you a bit of an idea, um, yeah. So that's the pricing, right? So yeah, and realistically,
Yeah.
yeah. That's probably a bit to digest, but any questions
Sorry. So
around the
the
side of
extra
things?
small and the small, therefore, is that
Yep.
pricing? Is that 280, 250? Is that,
Yep.
how is that, quarterly, monthly, yearly? What is
No,
that?
yeah, that's monthly. So 282
Monthly?
50. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
282 50. Um, and
That's
yeah, we
across
don't lock you in.
all.
That's the other thing, I guess, just to be aware of what we do
Yeah.
say to people. Particularly, you'd want to. I would highly suggest you give this 3 months to sort of see how it all works in the
Yeah.
first instance. In any case, but
Hmm.
but even if for any reason, let's face it, what we've just come out of. So if for any reason people want to stop or put on hold at any time, you just need 7 to 14 days notice. So we're not like
Okay.
some of the
No, no.
agencies will put you in for 12 months and you'll be locked away for life, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, we basically yeah, we rely on people like Phil and hopefully people like yourself that feel like they're getting a good job and then they're going to tell others, a bit like you, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Okay. And that's across all social media, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
So
Yep.
yeah, so basically there's the one off, which is this top. Once that's
Yep.
done, that doesn't get charged again, and then it's just a monthly cost. Just need
Yep.
to factor in your ads. So let's say, for instance, you come on at the extra small 282.
Hmm.
If you're doing it $5 a day, what's that? About 150 a month. Just to
Yep.
be aware that you got 150, that goes straight to Facebook and Zuckerberg. Um,
Yep.
we we take 10% of your ad spend ultimately. But because the ad
Hmm.
spend is quite low, we generally only charge that once a year. So in other words,
Yep.
if you're spending $150 a month, we don't go and bill you $15 every month. We just wait
Yep.
till it accrues and we kind of know
Yeah.
when
Okay.
where things are at. Yeah. Yeah. That's the only
Yeah.
other thing. Yeah.
Oh,
Sound
no,
okay?
sounds fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would
Sounds
be
okay.
good. Would you want, realistically, with you, you mentioned your brother-in-law, and I know he's on he's working with you, but
Son-in-law. Yeah.
son-in-law, not
Yep.
brother-in-law, son-in-law. Would you want your son-in-law involved in this as well, or do you, because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
welcome, is what I'm saying. You're welcome to have anybody else sort of on that planning and setup day to have them part of it.
Yeah. I'm thinking of
Uh,
the same thing. Something I'll put to him just in case he has. Obviously, he'll have some input. Maybe he might think of something that doesn't cross my mind, or yeah,
well,
I'll
yeah.
definitely
Also,
I'll
I
mention
think
it.
you know.
Definitely.
dare I say it, the 30 somethings are a lot more, not just the 30 something, the 20s plus, the 20s and 30 somethings are,
Yeah.
are much more across the use of it, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
for most of the,
No. No. Okay.
I think I told you the other day, like 80% of my client are sort of 45 plus blokes, right? And
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
isn't our typical world, you know?
No. No.
Um,
Definitely.
but the ones that are under, they're a lot more, so they just take it all in
Yeah.
their stride, right?
Yeah.
The same
No.
way
Well,
that,
that's what I wanted
yeah,
to do. I wanted to talk to him about it and see what he thinks, and then I probably will. No reason why I shouldn't involve him or not. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
So it makes sense.
Does he have a company email as well now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then we could, from the start, we could, as I said, we could
Yeah.
at least he can be across it with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and then there might be times where you think, oh, this is, I don't get this or whatever. Before I go and ask Steve, you told me last time what your son-in-law's name, and I forgot. What was it?
Sal.
Sal.
Yeah.
Yep. So how do you spell that? As in Saul?
SAL
Oh, Sal.
SALV as in
Oh,
short.
Salve. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, um, Yeah, sometimes, if it's just a technical, it might be something that Self even, do
Yeah.
you get this Self? Do you get what this bloke's
Yeah,
carrying on about?
exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
so as I said, more than happy, and that might be
Uh-huh.
you might find that's good because I have uh, as I said, I've at times with the more mature business owner, I'm always remember one fellow. I think I might have told you about this last time, but I think initially the expletives were only every half an hour. By the time we were
Yep.
finishing, I reckon every 5 minutes he was going fuck because what we do is we actually do it from your end, right? So
Yeah.
I'll oversee it, and then basically, in fact, while I think of it, let's just check. It looks like to me you're going to be able to do this pretty easy. But at the bottom where you had your mic, you've also got
Yep.
you've got a button there that says share screen. I think it's got
Yep.
share. Do you want to
Yes.
just have a click on that button and just see that you
Yep.
can share from your end? It'll ask you
Yep.
what do you want to share, and you just say, "I'll share my entire screen." That'll duplicate you and me
It just
probably.
says, well, it's asking Google, Miro, whiteboard, Trello boards, YouTube.
Okay, so that's interesting. So if you just click on, let me just go. When you click on share, okay, I'm going to stop
Hmm.
my share for now. Okay, so which one's stop on this one? Stop. Okay, stop screen share. Yeah, the first thing you get is underneath Google Drive and everything. You get and you've got one should just say share screen. Click on share screen, which is the bottom one. Does that come up?
No.
So you go.
No.
So
All it does is just comes up when as soon as I hit share. I'm on an iPad, by the way, too.
oh,
By the
you're on
way.
an iPad. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You got
Maybe
share.
that. Maybe all I get is a Google Drive. It just asks me Miro, whiteboard, Trello boards,
Do
or
you have
YouTube.
a computer that you use as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon. I reckon that's the one we'd probably use because
Hmm.
laptops are great. Oh, sorry, the iPads are great, but at the same time, for this sort of stuff, you probably want to
Yeah.
log into all of your socials using your computer, so that way they're
Hmm.
all sitting there if you needed them for whatever reason. Um,
Yep.
and yeah, we just want to make sure you'll be able to. I've got no doubt, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
realistically, yeah. And then, as I said, we tend to record the sessions and that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
if we get stuck at any point too, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any
All
yes,
right.
I guess the next thing is
Yeah.
when do you want to go?
Well, look. Let me speak to Sal about it. Let me see if I can tee up what and when. Probably won't be next week. This week's a short week. Well, probably won't be next week. 'Cause we've got a fair bit on next week. So
Sure.
maybe the week after. But just let me speak to Sal because obviously I'd have to get him in the office to do that.
Yeah,
We
no
both
worries.
need to
Yep.
be in here at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So basically Tuesday, Thursdays, let me just check though. So next week I'm a bit the same to be honest.
Hmm.
But let's go. Let me just tell you at the moment. Um, Tuesday the 16th and Thursday the 18th.
Hmm.
I do have available. So yeah. So 16th and 18th, if you want to sort of
16th and 18th.
if
All
you
right.
have a
So
chat to
let's
Sal about
aim for
that,
one of those two.
and
Okay.
even at a push, if you wanted to do the Friday the 19th, so 16th, 18th, or
Okay.
19th would probably
So
be
just
3 days to work around, maybe.
16th and 18th. Okay. All right. I just want that down. All right. 16th and 18th November. All right. Well, leave that with me. I'll probably just shoot you an email in the next day or so to see which day suits. All right.
Yep,
And then we can lock in a time for that.
that'll be the best. And then what I'll do
All right.
is I'll put it in a calendar for us, and then we actually use this project uh, management sort of stuff to basically we'll send you the checklist that we're going to work through together and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there'll
Yeah.
be a whole bag. But you still get an email, but yeah, um, all
Hmm.
good,
Okay.
excellent.
No worries.
I'll put this audit stuff on there as well. So that's been good, Tony.
All right. Beautiful.
All right, you have a
Great.
good rest of the day, and I look forward to hearing from you. And
You
yeah,
too.
and getting things done. It's exciting. Good stuff.
And you said you were going to shoot through all those details on an email to me, so I'll have that.
I'll
Yes.
I'll do that. Yeah, as soon as
Yes.
you let me know, and we got our
Okay.
date, I'll create it as a project on our project
Yep.
management, and then yeah, you'll get all that, and we just make sure that we keep it all in the one place, very easy to find then, and we know what we'll go
Hmm.
through and have yeah and get
Okay.
done.
All right. No worries.
Good stuff.
Beautiful. Okay.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah,
No
you
worries.
too.